Hello and welcome to our workshop, How to Choose an IoT Platform. My name is Elisabeth Schloten. I'm the CEO and founder of ECBM, and we are an IoT and AI company based in Düsseldorf in Germany. We do IoT and AI projects from strategy, concept development, through real technical development to actual operations for customers in a number of different industries, some industrial customers, some energy companies. We do smart city projects as well. And we help our customers generate value through the IoT and AI. I brought with me today my dear colleague
Ernesto. Hi, my name is Ernesto Oquelis. I am an IoT engineer and I work at ECBM designing IoT solutions for our customers.
Yeah, so Ernesto is a real expert on IoT platforms, front end, back end, and the communication around it. So he's very well placed to answer a few questions about IoT platforms, of course. But let's start a little bit broader. Ernesto, what is going on in the IoT market? What have you seen happening over the last year? What has been really interesting?
Yes, so as always, there are newcomers and establishment and open source solutions. We're getting a lot of competition to define who is the reference for how to structure your IoT solutions. So we have the big guys like Google, Amazon, IBM proposing their platforms that other solutions can be built on top. And we have open source solutions also, like there are so many projects from universities. Other one very used is called ChipStack. We have several offer also for visualization of data, for gateway management, for device management. So it's a very exciting time.
So do you think the market is still continuing to grow?
What I've seen on the last year, it's like there are definitely new offers coming, but we don't see as much growth as, let's say, 3-4 years ago, where most of the solutions were being developed. Like right now, it's the tendency that I see is more of how to combine these services, to build your own solution that must be use case specific.
Okay, and what I see on the hardware market to be combined with the platforms and with the software is really an enormous growth. I mean, we can see it here again on the Things conference. We saw it last year, it's still going on. But there are more and more hardware players actually going into the LoRaWAN space, into the IoT space, and I think there are more sensor manufacturers that are still discovering that their sensors should be connected to something and that are developing actually connected sensors. So that's really, really exciting. So we've talked about the market, but Ernesto, what is actually an IoT platform?
Yes, so for building your IoT solution, you require different pieces. An IoT platform is a service designed to fulfill a specific task or a subset of tasks that your IoT solution needs. For example, you can have an IoT platform that helps you manage gateways, other one that helps you manage devices, or another platform that offers visualization of your data, or another one that allows you for communicating between services or processing the data, decoding the data. So there's a wide range of platforms that you can use, and the main objective of each platform is to help you with one part of this IoT solution.
So what you're saying is that there is not an IoT platform, but you need multiple bits and pieces to create an IoT platform. Is that right?
Yes. So this is like I don't think there's a rich agreement of what an actually IoT platform means. Like the definition that I'm going with is that an IoT platform is a service that helps you build your IoT solution. So it's oriented specifically for a type of task. Okay. So it can be, for example, a network server. It's an IoT platform that fulfills the network server role. Another IoT platform could be, for example, a data visualization tool.
Great. So now I'm in a company. I have my ERP system. I have a document management system. I have a database. I have a wireless network, and I have, I don't know, a business intelligence tool like Tableau or something like that. I've got all this stuff. Now you're telling me I need another platform or 5. Why can't I use what I've got?
Yes, well, the IoT, let's call it like a paradigm, it's different to the normal data streams that the industry uses. So we are talking about some devices, in the specific case of LoRaWAN, that communicate every minutes or hours. So we have very small data packages that are transmitted over very long periods of time. Like legacy, let's call it IoT, IT services are not designed specifically for these types of tasks. You need actually a tool that is built for the task. So we have new solutions that are ready for fulfilling those needs. Yeah.
Okay. So is it just a big database or is it more than that?
No, it's more than that. So we are starting from the very bottom. We have new type of hardware on the edge, on the devices. We need new hardware on the middle, the gateways that are like intermediate nodes that can enable these devices to connect to the internet. Then you need software to manage this hardware. You need also software that enables the data stream to connect to the next service. In the case of LoRaWAN, the immediate next service will be a network server, right after a join and an application server. And just after comes the integrations. Like here comes your database. Or so the design depends on this new paradigm that has new requirements that cannot be met by legacy IT services.
Okay, great. Is there, for the sake of simplicity, is there a tool that does everything from device management to analysis and visualization?
I think yes. Well, actually, there are some providers that offer functionality of that sort. I think that the use of such solutions is appropriate for a proof of concept, mostly because I don't think it's okay. So going back to what I mentioned a moment ago, there's still not a major player that sets the reference to how an IoT solution should be structured. So at this stage, you don't want to be locked to using just one single provider. For example, I'm sure any gateway that our viewers will be using, their manufacturers very probably offer their own network server. I will recommend not to tag along with that long because it's probably going to lock you to a single manufacturer.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you recommend to go something like best of breed than all in one?
Yes, what I will propose later is to actually look at the use case. Mm-hmm. That's very important. Like if you're always just staying with a proof of concept or a pilot, maybe using a solution like that will be easier, faster, and initially cheaper. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to scale good in the long run. Yeah.
Okay, so there are a lot of platforms and options. So it looks like an easy thing to me. Pick this one. Why do you think it's hard to choose?
Yeah, so I think it's hard to choose because there are simply so many options, and not all of them are connectable with one another. So there's the problem becomes this: I want something to work, and if you start picking something, you have to start thinking on what is going to go next. So the solution becomes very high dimensional, very quick. Mm-hmm. You know what it's coming in and you know what you want out, mm-hmm. but the way through the middle, it's very tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are huge amounts of connectivity technologies to choose from. There's LoRaWAN, there's Sigfox, there's NB-IoT, there's mobile, normal GSM, there's
Yes.
5G coming in, and then there's all the cable-connected ones. And I don't know how many hundreds of IoT platform offerings there actually are. So yes, it's a pretty big field. So what do I do? How do I choose?
Yeah, so to begin with, you can focus on which technology you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, of course, we are talking LoRaWAN. The next stage will be to make some questions about, for example, what's the scale of your project? So is it a pilot? Is it a small project? Is it a big project? Is data privacy important? Can I have my service running on the cloud? Or does it have to run on premise? Or even do I have to have high availability in my system so data is reliable?
Mm-hmm.
So there are these questions that you can start asking, and what resources do you actually have also?
Mm-hmm.
So do I have people that are trained to install, configure, and maintain an open source solution, for example? Or do I want to leave it all in a platform as a service contract?
Okay. But what you said, some of the things that change over time, right? So here I am, I want to do a proof of concept with, 10 sensors in my garden, but who knows what's going to come of it?
Yes, indeed. That's actually something very important also. You need to take care of also of what comes in the future. Is this going to grow? Do I have to build something that can be later probably migrated to another platform? Or is this is my initial solution scalable also? So those are the questions you will ask yourself to start picking your own platform. There are way more other parameters that are more technical, like how's the platform, how's the documentation, how is the support. Like the price also is important.
Really?
Yeah, like how the price scales is a very important topic. Like you will rather not have a service whose price scales linearly with your size. Like you want 10 gateways and then you want 100. You don't want the price to multiply by 10. Right?
No, that doesn't sound like a good idea. And you initially said we're talking LoRaWAN. Of course, this is the LoRaWAN conference, so yes, we're talking LoRaWAN. But I think it's always important to consider a slightly broader view, like not just how do I get LoRaWAN somewhere, but how do I get data somewhere. And I don't care really if it's only LoRaWAN data or LoRaWAN combined with 4G combined with Ethernet. Does that make a difference?
Yes, of course. Like I think that a lot of projects right now related to IoT are to some degree exploratory. So you're testing new technology and you don't want to, like I mentioned before, locked in on a single manufacturer. You don't want to compromise everything on just one technology. So yes, of course, that's another important parameter to consider when picking your IoT solution.
Okay. So now we've talked a lot about the theory, but what have you actually done to gain this expertise?
Yes, so on last year we finished market analysis here at ECBM. We took quite amount of time to take a look at the market and the current offering at that time, and we performed an analysis to define what was there, what options did we have, and to build solutions for specific use cases that we could use in the future for our development. So on the next project, we didn't have to go and analyze the whole market again.
Okay. So what was the motivation for doing this analysis?
I think that the main motivation was to to gain the expertise about the options that are out there to give the best solution for our customers.
So did you find the perfect IoT platform?
Yes, I know. We found good combinations of IoT platforms to create IoT solutions for use cases. That we found, yes. And we gain expertise also on how to build these solutions according to several requirements. So if the use cases require it on-premise, we have the best solution for that. If it's required on the cloud, we have the best solution for that. High availability also. Everything depending on the context of each project.
So you're not going to stand here and say, this is the perfect IoT platform?
No, because I don't think anybody can do that.
Okay.
Like probably a provider offering you an all-in-one solution may sell you that, but I really don't believe in solutions of the sort at this stage. I think that every solution right now must be tailored per use case.
Okay, now if I give you a use case, are you going to recommend me a platform to me?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So let's think about the smart home, right? I want to know if my doors are open or closed and my windows. I want to have a little motor closing them automatically. If, I don't know, if it starts raining, I want to water my plants in the garden based on the humidity. So I have, 20, 30 sensors. And of course I want to use LoRaWAN. What do I do?
Great. For this case, I think the simplest solution will be to use the Things network. That's you will have a LoRaWAN network with cost zero. That's nice. Yes, indeed, it is nice. It doesn't. Yes, so that you can integrate to any visualization tool that you want. If you're a little tech savvy, you can use a small Things board installation. They have a community edition that is totally free to use, and you can create very cool plots about the watering status of your plants.
Oh, very nice. So if I don't want to invest, actually, I can just register my sensors with the free Things network, right? With the community network.
Yes.
And then I use the Things board. It's free to create some visualization. That's cool. So now, I would really want to learn the technology a bit more. I want my own gateway. What do I do then?
Okay, there's a wide range of offering for indoor gateways that you can pick from. If you want to learn actually how to modify them, then I would recommend to build your own, like you mentioned. And one nice way to learn everything about the gateway network server, application server stack is to configure ChirpStack. That is an open source solution that offers exactly what I mentioned. Okay,
that's cool. And again, it's totally free, right? The community edition?
Yes, there's no community edition. It's totally open source.
The whole thing is free. That's great. Yeah, so that's really cool because for the small things, for learning the technology, there's a lot of free stuff out there that you can just use and play with. Only the hardware will probably be somewhat expensive. Yes. That's nice. Okay, so now it's not my home anymore. Now it's a critical infrastructure. I basically want to know the same things. I want to know if my doors are open or closed, if somebody's breaking in. Maybe I want to know the indoor climate, and then it's a power station, so I want to know the voltage flowing through somewhere. What do I do now?
Yes, so here in this specific case, what is the most important thing that you have mentioned is that it's critical infrastructure. So this must be really secure. Yes. Sometimes companies that operate facilities like this really don't want their data on the cloud.
Yeah,
that's a no-no. So in this case, you need to begin with. You need a LoRaWAN network solution that offers on-premise installation that you can configure on your own. So here there are two solutions. Like the low complexity, medium high cost is to use a provider of such system like Loriot. They offer a network server that you can install on premise and offers a wide range of integrations and that you can configure your gateways easily. Another solution will be to use the knowledge you gathered from playing around at home and run ChirpStack on premise. Indeed. This will be a little more tricky though, because you will probably want some high availability there. and that's going to require quite some work.
Okay.
But it can be done.
Have you done it?
For sure.
So what do you consider high availability?
So high availability is a way to configure your systems so you have, for example, redundancy or safe failover. So there is no point, or almost no point, in which your system gets down. So you don't have just one database, you have two or more.
Yep.
You don't have just one network server, but you have two or more. And in the case of one failure, the case of one failure does not shut down your complete system.
Yeah.
So you can do this, even distribute geographically your systems. So in the case of a total failure in one server, does not affect the system actually.
Which means you have to build a platform or set of platforms that actually allow this kind of architecture. And I assume not everyone or not every platform is able to do that?
Yeah, so in this case it will depend again, because you will need to see your specific provider. So if in the case of your network server, you will need to look for the company that you pick to be offering that.
So this is then not so much a question of whether you pick Chubstack or L'Oreal or AWS or whatever, but more of how you set it up and what infrastructure you put around it?
Yeah, indeed. And the software to begin with must be capable of such configuration.
Okay, so here's one that I need to check when I choose my platform.
Indeed, if it is required to have high availability.
Okay, so we've got critical infrastructure on LoRaWAN, which is really nice. Now let's use another example. I'm in industry park, which is as big as a small town. I have many companies sitting there and I want to know everything about the infrastructure. Probably more than 1,000 sensors within the total project. They've got to be reliable, they've got to send, they cannot fail. It's not critical infrastructure, but the customers just want to know. I mean, we talked about, in a different session, we talked about counting people in a room. And there are a lot of other areas where data has to be relatively close to real time. What do I do?
In this case is like a perfect example again. Here what you will really do is to use cloud services offered by the big players. You know them, like Google, Microsoft, Amazon. They offer services that are configured by default to be high available. So you won't have to worry about that. And in this case, you can use it not like the previous one, because in this case, this company probably doesn't care about their data being on a secure database online. So this will speed up a lot the process of development. It simplifies a lot of things. Some platforms are actually even offered on their cloud service market. So it's a matter of clicks to have something built on.
Sounds nice. Sounds really easy. Okay, so now here's another case. I've got my LoRaWAN platform with which I'm monitoring my infrastructure, and now I want to combine this with a lot of other information. Data coming from machines, from production management systems, from the weather report, from I don't know what, from external, internal, other connectivity technology. What do I do now?
So in this case, like following the previous example of, say, again, a production plant of any sort, where you have definitely a mixture of different IoT technologies, a cloud solution, I think, is the best way to go. Other cloud services that are offered include data lakes or gateways of sort that can speak almost any protocol that you will need to. So it's actually not that problematic how you plug the LoRaWAN inside, but actually to know that your other technologies offers communication protocols compatible with the cloud.
So now you said something interesting. The data should sit in the cloud. Now, let's say I produce something top secret and it's my recipe, and I don't want the Chinese guys and the American guys and the Russian guys and all of these guys to know my recipe. It's mine. So it's my competitive advantage. You're telling me to go to the cloud. Is Why do you do that?
Yeah, well, actually, you will rather go to a cloud provider than another seller or a data center of some sort. They're actually quite safe and have very high standards on security and reliability.
So what you're saying is that cloud offerings are generally quite secure. I would agree to that because these guys, it's their business to run a data center. It's their business to manage data. So they're going to put a lot more money into it than anyone whose core business is something totally different, like producing medicine. The guys who produce medicine don't have the expertise. So if they have a small IT department that looks after a few servers, it's just not going to be quite as professionally set up as what the huge data center people actually do. So I tend to totally agree that a cloud is actually quite a good idea. Well, thank you very much for sharing your expertise with me. I've learned a lot today. I hope our audience has learned something as well. What are the kind of last words of the session that you would like to give our audience?
Sure. I will say that the IoT platform market, it's quite messy, and it is okay to need some help sometimes to make sense of all this mess. And for helping you with this mess, there are companies like ECBM that can help you build your own IoT solution tailored to your needs. And yeah, we will be happy to help you with that.
Let us know if you have any questions. We're definitely there for you throughout the whole Things conference. Thanks, and continue to enjoy the conference.
Thank you.